Joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, is a man who's a Super Bowl champion, okay? A legend in the NFL, but before that, played in the CFL.
Ooh. Okay.
Learned that today while I was doing a little bit of research. Mm-hmm. He's obviously an incredible TV personality. His golf game, huh?
Stupendous.
Chef's kiss. Yeah. Former Heisman with, ladies and gentlemen, Joe Theismann.
Yeah.
Joe, how you doing, pal?
I'm doing great, buddy. Hey, thanks for having me. And first thing I got to ask you, how's your golf game?
Terrible, Joe.
We spent some time on the range together out of Lake Tahoe.
Joe, I want to let you know, my game fucking stinks, Joe. I can't. The game is impossible. It is you gave me a great tip, didn't he, Evan? Remember, Evan was standing right there.
Oh yeah,
Joe, Pat, you need to slow down. Like I'm like, all right, I'll listen. You're fucking Joe Theismann. I will listen to that. And I hit like 3 good ones. You remember, Joe? I hit 3 good balls there.
Yep, you really did. Yeah, absolutely.
So then I went good. Then I went on a course and I hit 100 bad ones. So it was a tough day. It didn't transfer.
You're not alone.
Okay. Yeah, but you're a player. You're a player, right?
All the time.
Do you play a lot still?
I love it.
Yeah. You good?
Yeah, I do. I really love the game. I love everything about it. And as much of a head game as it is, it's a physical game too. But it gives me a chance to get out and really test myself. I mean, you have nobody to blame. Well, you can blame your caddy, and that's always somebody you can yell at. But normally, it's all on you.
Yeah, I love that type of feeling. And I think the more I learned about you today, I didn't know you were a punt returner. Did you know this guy was a punt returner?
No. What a what? No.
You were a punt returner? I had no idea that was the case. So I would have
actually started in college doing it. My first 7 games in college as a sophomore, I returned punts. And then when I joined the NFL, the first 2 years, I was a punt returner.
So then you get the starting job and you just go on to be dominant, win a Super Bowl champion, and become a legend of the NFL. Is that how that worked out? Were you a quarterback while in college, or were you just a punt returner? I assume you had.
Oh no, I have a few records at the University of Notre Dame. I think our record was like 23 to 2-1 or 2-2 or something like that. We had a pretty good run there, Pat. Pretty good run.
Yeah, I'd say. I'm in Indiana too. They're back too this year with Sam Hartman. Yep. They're back here with Sam Hartman.
Oh yeah, Sam's good.
Hey,
Sam is good.
He's a player.
Sam's legit.
He's a player. This is big. I think Marcus Freeman's got a guy. I think they got a guy. I think they got a team right now. I think like legit.
Oh yeah, I think, and I think Texas Southern. I think we have this week. Last year we lost to Marshall, which we really shouldn't have. All respect to everybody, but the fact of the matter is, these are the games that you have to go out and dominate. I mean, that's the bottom line. You have to dominate them.
What was your? You one of those guys uber competitive still to this day? Is that you think that was one of your edges?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I'm a competition junkie. You know, if you and I are at a light together. You're in one car. I'm in the other car. We're the first 2 cars. It's on. It's on.
What do you drive?
I'm gonna beat you off the line. It's like being in a drag race. You know, you check the other lights on the other side to see if it's gone to orange, and then you anticipate it going to green, and then here we go. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, you got to pop that clutch a little bit there. So you're not on your phone at the red light either. I think that is quite an advantage in modern day. Is like if the person next to you is on their phone, it's almost like, all right, let's not interrupt this person here. We are off and running. I also get a kick out of like picking which horse is the right one. You know, when I'm pulling up, let's say there's 2 lanes and you got 2 cars up there. Picking and judging the car that is going to be the one that isn't distracted and the one that's going to get off the line. Fun little game. Get real excited when I pick the right fucking lane too, Joe. I'm going to let you know that.
I know what you mean.
All right, amen. All right, let's start talking about some things that are very relevant to your world. The Washington football team, the Washington Commanders. Not going to say it, even though there's a massive petition to bring it back, although now we're hearing that potentially isn't legit. Who knows? What do you think the future looks like? Do you think they have a new team name? And how quickly does that happen? And how does it look, you think, Joe?
Well, the process is it would have to be submitted to the league, and nothing would happen probably within a year, possibly 2, when it comes to a new name. I think they want to move towards a new name and sort of put everything about the Washington Commanders, the Washington football team, in the rearview mirror and move forward. I think Josh Harris and his group have done a terrific job of creating an environment that's really very positive. What you hear a lot now is people talking about the football team. Over the past couple of years, there's been more conversation about what's taken place off the field or away from the field than it has been on the field. So to me, I think what we see is something very, very positive going on. And you look at our running backs, you look at our wide receivers, you look at the defensive line. They're inside the top 8 or 9 in the league. The big question is, what's Sam going to be able to do? And he acquitted himself, I thought, pretty darn well through the preseason. And now it's just a question of, can you carry that through over a 17-game schedule? And I'll tell you, Pat, 17 games is a lot of football. You watch these guys transition from the collegiate level into the professional level. They hit about week 12, and it's like hitting a wall. But yet you still have a lot of the season left. So there is a big transition for him.
Yeah, you hit that rookie wall, and then it's like a tunnel, and then you get to like week 16, week 17. And it's like, oh, there's a light at the end of the tunnel there. But it is a tough part of the season for people, emotionally, mentally, energy, everything, in a very important time. The Commanders are looking to play important football, obviously, in that stretch. I think what Sam Howell has done is remarkable. But that NFC East, Bud, it's loaded, right?
Oh,
I mean, just a few years back, it was absolute just crop. Everybody in there, like 7 wins.
A year ago.
Yeah. What's that?
A year ago, everybody was saying, oh, geez, NFC East. Cowboys are dominant ones. Then all of a sudden the Eagles come up. The Giants play well. And had it not been for conceivably a call by an official in the second Giant game, Washington could have made the playoffs as well. So you'd have all 4 teams in that division going. But if you look around at the divisions, Pat, it's really interesting. The AFC East, that's a loaded one.
Loaded.
The AFC North is a loaded one. Yeah. The NFC East is loaded. Don't count. Listen, the team that don't count Seattle out in the West. Don't sleep on Seattle.
Like Pete?
Out
you
in
like
the West.
Pete, huh? You like Pete Carroll?
I like what Pete's done. Pete has reloaded, and Geno is recharged. People don't realize Geno Smith had the best completion percentage in football a year ago, 70%. And I think they got better. So you still, San Francisco, you're still wondering what's going on. And so, you look at the
let's talk about
division.
that. Let's talk about that because Jimmy G just came out from Sports Illustrated with Robin Lundberg, I do believe, and was asked pretty much about the Trey Lance situation in San Francisco. This is what he had to say. Now, Jimmy G in San Francisco had a lot of success together whenever he was playing. This is how he spoke about the Niners when asked about it by Robin Lundberg.
What did you make of the Trey Lance trade to Dallas?
Weird situation. Been a lot of weird situations over there in San Francisco, just to leave it at that. But, I'm happy Trey got another shot, man.
How do you think San Francisco's handled those quarterback situations?
How do you think they've handled them?
I think it's been messy. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, that's a nice way to put it.
Interesting, right? So, what is happening behind closed doors? And then Bosa's not at training camp right now. I love that team because I like watching them play football. But you saying you wonder what's going on over there, I think a lot of people are kind of starting to do that. Joe, what do you think it is?
Well, Jimmy's headed for Washington, D.C. as a politician after that interview. I guarantee it. Throw the question back to the person asking the question. Well, what do you think? I think the instability at the quarterback position creates major issues everywhere. We've had it in Washington for a number of years. Now, San Francisco, you've had different people play. The Trey Lance deal, when it was made, I was wondering about it and scratching my head initially. And then, of course, Jimmy had a chance to play. Brock's come in and played well. I mean, you've had different people play over periods of time, but you don't have any consistency like, say, you have in Green Bay or you had in San Francisco before. We just haven't seen that in a lot of places. Good transition in Kansas City with Alex going to Patrick. And so if you don't have that consistency, if you don't have that guy behind center being able to play and practice, and that's really important, Pat. You have to be able to practice to get better to play. You have to be able to play to learn what you need to do. And that's been, I think, a problem with it. Yeah, listen, we both know it. You can't win at any level without a quarterback.
Yeah, that's why $230 million, Joe, you see these deals. I know you do.
Don't bring that up. Don't mention numbers.
I don't want to talk about
please.
It. Joe, we're talking 200 some million.
Absurd.
Joe, we're talking 200 some. That's only going this way too, Joe. Just only going this way.
I know.
Oh.
Hey, 1984, fourth highest paid player in the National Football League. I was at $1 million a year.
A millionaire kid out of New Jersey. Got a millionaire.
It's funny. It's amazing. It's amazing how things have changed. And you know what? I don't begrudge these guys one penny. get everything you can get. It's a short-lived career. Yeah. It's an opportunity to be able to do the thing you dreamt about as a kid. And the numbers are there. If you can get somebody to pay you, good for you.
Hey, and also on the flip side, we would all like to say thank you to guys like you and others that laid the framework and the groundwork for this league that is the most successful in the entire world. So thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
That's a real thing. I know it gets said by a lot of people, especially whenever they're talking about like lifelong and health insurance and other stuff. Like, we appreciate what those guys did for us. Now also, I can figure it out, bro. Like that is, it's kind of like two sides of a coin. But I know every player that I've talked to is very appreciative of everything you guys had to go through and what you did to get us to where we are. So we're very grateful. Speaking of, one of the things that you had to go through that nobody else went through, and obviously every conversation you've ever had has probably came back to this one play, which sucks, I would assume, because of how fucking great you were in the NFL. But that play where the end? Yeah. That sucks.
I guess you could call it the end. It's interesting about that night, Pat, because the success that I enjoyed in the National Football League as a part of the Washington quote unquote Redskins was really special. I mean, to be an MVP, to win a Super Bowl, to be in the salary category I was at that time, all those things were wonderful. But I really started really believing my own headlines. I started thinking I was really, really good. And it changed me as a person, I believe. And what that night did, that was divine intervention in my mind. I was headed down a path where my ego was getting the best of me. I thought I was really special. I thought I was the guy. I thought I was the one that they couldn't be without. And then obviously found out things differently. But, you get caught up in that world. And we've seen so many athletes have that happen. And I was one of them. And then after the evening, after I got hurt, it gave me a chance to be introspective and look at my life and look at the person I became and was becoming, as opposed to the person that I wanted to be. I want to be able to help people. I want to be able to do things. I want to be able to help other people achieve success. I get the greatest joy out of working with young quarterbacks today, whether it's high school or college, it doesn't matter. And watch them succeed. And the look on their face is priceless. It's like opening, a big Christmas present. They get so excited about the fact that they've discovered something that may be able to help them. That's my joy in life now, is to be able to help other people enjoy the success that I had, and to be able to play for Coach Gibbs and Coach Walton and Coach Allen. I'm telling you, it was just, and Jack Pardee was the one that gave me my chance to play in '78. He made me the starter after George got fired. So I have a lot of people to thank. And at one point in my life, I thought it was all about me. And you know what, Pat? The bottom line is, we're not on this earth to be served. We're here to be able to serve others. And and you see this in the way quarterbacks work with one another. Yes, it's a very competitive position, but a lot of guys are able to help the other person. And then I say this to any young quarterback out there: watch what the other guy is doing and doing well. That's how you learn. Don't ask for a verbal description, but observe.
Yeah, well, you said a lot there, and I want to let you know that was fucking very cool to hear. Yeah. Not a lot of people. That was really cool to hear, because I think I didn't know that about you. I assume there are people who have told you at different times of your life, maybe, that you're being an asshole or whatever. So here, as a human, later, realizing, looking back, changing, growing, chasing fulfillment is what it sounds like you've focused on, as opposed to anything else. That's a cool thing for people to hear, bro. A lot of people just don't change. You know that. A lot of people just an asshole. They just keep going.
Well, it's hard. It's hard sometimes to look in a mirror and be flat out honest. And you know what? It's what I appreciate about you. There's no facade.
Well,
if anybody wants to know who Pat McAfee is, all you need to do is watch. And all you need to do is listen. You're out front. You're right there. And, sometimes honesty just scares the living daylights out of people, especially when it's about themselves. It's much easier to hide and go, oh, that's not me. Well, if you face it, it's a little bit easier. It's not easy to deal with, but down the road, it becomes a better situation.
Yeah, if you're always being yourself, you won't get caught. I think that's one thing that I like. You kind of see with a lot of people. Now, I had to get, I don't know, I wasn't comfortable with being me for a long time, and then you get like down to the bottom of the bottom, and everybody turns on you. Not everybody, but a lot of people turn on you and start burying you and tell you that you're a piece of shit. Like when I got in trouble or whatever, it's like that's a time where you really got to do the same thing you do, and then you just own it, and that's Joe. And that's Theismann. But so you just own it, and I appreciate you saying that though. That's a big deal, man. You should be very proud of yourself. Honestly, you should be.
I appreciate that. Thanks, Pat.
Hey, no problem. And you said something about sometimes you got to look in the mirror. I try not to do that as much as possible.
Hey, with those guns, I'd look in the mirror every morning.
Hey, they're coming together. I do catch a reflection.
They really are.
I catch a reflection every once in a while, Joe. You know what I mean? I'm like, whoa, okay, guys.
Yeah.
We're in there.
They really are.
I appreciate
They really are. Look, no, now we get the side view. Now we get to see the full depth.
Shout out to Foxy. What's that? What's going on? Nothing. Nothing. What are we doing? I enjoy it, bro. It's nice to be retired and not getting tested. You know, there's some different vitamins I got running through my body right now that seem to be working. Seem to be working. But you know, those shit don't work
if you don't get in there.
If you don't work.
You got to put the work in.
I've been in there, Joe. Hey, every morning.
Yeah. That's it.
Every morning's arm day.
Oh, yeah.
When you wear tank tops every day, it's easy. What do you need to work on? Well, the only thing anybody's going to see. What's that? Your arms. So I'm just doing arms every day. What do you stay? You golf? Your fitness routine these days?
I keep, I'm down. I'm about 3 days a week now. I'm back. I worked out this morning. Got some cardio in this morning, a little bit of weights. I'll take a day off. I'll probably hit some balls later today. Do some stretching. Stretching is a big thing for me. I mean, I've never been flexible, and stretching is to me the key to longevity in anything. Being able to be flexible, being able to move. You know, motion is lotion when it comes to joints, and being able to stretch out, I think, is so important. And I am horrible at it. I'm not as consistent as I should be. And you know, the older I get, the more I try and stretch, the less flexible I become.
Well, that seems to be like my golf game. You know, the more I do, the worse I get. But the whole, how old are you? How old are you, Joe?
On September 9th, I'll turn 74.
Wow.
Let's go.
Well, happy birthday.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Joe.
Actually, my oldest son, Joe, same birthday.
Plan that, obviously. You planned that, yeah? Just let me go ahead and get ahead of this.
Yeah, it was all mapped out a long time ago.
Yeah, 40 weeks is about the, let's go ahead and get this whole thing figured out. The boys have some questions for you, if that's okay.
Sure.
You look wonderful. I mean, you look very good. I'm not going to live that long, but if I do, geez, could you imagine? Yeah. Look at the skin.
Unbelievable.
You got to be low. I mean, the routine.
Yep.
And then look at the fucking hair. We still got good.
Perfect.
You know what I mean?
Great
Unbelievable.
balance.
Hey, Joe. Hey, Joe.
Doing it, Joe.
You should be pumped. Hell yeah. Happy birthday, dude. Ty's got a question for you.
Joe, going back to Notre Dame, just curious, like when you look at kind of the way Notre Dame has progressed since like you were there and, you know, Montana was there and guys like that. And then the success Lou Holtz had when they won the national championship. And then there was a little bit of a lull kind of until, you know, Brady Quinn, and then same deal, you know, Jimmy Clausen was there and he was supposed to be the next guy. But do you think the expectations and the pressure and just kind of like the star power from, you know, Hall of Famers and guys like you in Montana while at Notre Dame has kind of caused a lot of guys to crumble that maybe couldn't live up to like the hype and the legacy of the school and all that kind of stuff? And obviously Sam Hartman looks good, but do you think Notre Dame is kind of in a position now where they're back to being the blue blood that they've always been and not just kind of the name?
I think so. I don't necessarily think, you know, not knowing, you know, having talked to some of the young guys that have come in, you know, they make the decision to go to Notre Dame, knowing full well what the legacy is, what the reputation is, what the history is of the university and its football program. So they understand what they're stepping into. The question is, do you have the talent level? Is there consistency in the coaching staff to be able to get the best out of the players there? Tommy Rees now is our offensive coordinator. Tommy's down at Alabama. And Tommy really worked the ball to the tight ends a lot. You know, Gerald Parker's there now. He coached the wide receiver position, and we see the wide receivers. We saw him against Navy jump up. So you have different philosophies and different concepts. And Sam's really, you know, a big quarterback, a tall quarterback, has mobility, has a great arm. You know, the guys, Ian Book and others, weren't as big. They weren't as strong. And again, so much of what we do in the National Football League, as well as the collegiate levels, what's the system that you play in? And what do they emphasize? Tommy likes to run the football. Tommy liked to run the football. And we've had a lot of guys have a lot of success that way. We got the ball to the tight end. But as far as the wide receivers go, they weren't as big a part of the offense as I think we're going to see them going forward. So I don't think the kids worry about the reputation of the University of Notre Dame. They're proud to be there. We're proud to have them. And it's just the talent level around them so much that determines. I've always said this, the quarterback position is the single most dependent position on the field. We really stop and think about it. Jim Kelly would have had a Super Bowl ring had somebody made a kick.
Whoa. You're right, though. You're right. Sure. Mm-hmm. I mean, Jim, who I love Jim.
Mm-hmm. Great guy.
Respect the hell out of Jim. Great guy. I mean, you win by 40, you don't have to make a kick.
It's true.
So, you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
You don't cover.
Yeah.
Right now, you have to talk about not covering.
Hey, you get into that at all, Joe? You get into gambling at all?
No, I don't. My wife and I will talk about it, and I'll bet a buck with with a buddy of mine on something. I just, it's so unpredictable, and to be honest with you, you get to enjoy it more when you don't have so much online. You're not going crazy. Sure. When somebody's driving down the field to try and cover, I know all the jargon. I know what's going on. When you're somebody's driving down the field and they're about to do a cover. It's like, oh no, a backdoor cover. No,
yep, there we go.
It just breaks your heart and it ruins the day. And then all of a sudden, the worst thing is you start chasing.
Yeah, got to get back now. Got to get back.
Yeah, you've got to win the first one or two, or else you're going to chase, and it's going to be a long, long weekend.
So the sports books have regulations on there to save people from themselves, but there are certainly people losing money still. And I think as it continues to go on, in last year, Joe, we won one for, I think, 18 or something.
Yep.
One for 19.
20 because we did multiple.
It was it was so bad. We were picking like, okay, this is an actual guarantee. Mm-hmm. We're going to move the odds for this. We're going to get everybody. Sure. Hey, listen, we're going to get back on track here. We're getting back on that horse. Let's go. This is a guarantee. And we would lose. It's so impossible to win. I have no idea.
Don't you love those locks? Don't you love those locks? This is a lock. This is a guarantee. Guaranteed win. They're playing at home. They haven't lost in 25 years. The other team doesn't have 15 players, and all of a sudden you lose.
Yeah, we know too much, Joe. That's the thing. We know too much. We know, stats say 87% of the time a team coming off of this is going to do this, especially going into a situation like that. Oh, you add in the wind. Whoa, this bumps up to a 92%. 92%. That sounds like a great time. But then you don't account for, there's fucking 8% there. Yeah. Uh-huh. That 8% is still a very real, it's not a zero there. That is not so that 8% might be moving for the next 50 times that situation pops up. You have no idea because the past.
The classic of that is horse racing, Pat. How many times have you heard people they go to a track, they're going to bet on a horse. Why'd you bet on the horse? Because I like the colors. The jockey's wearing a really nice outfit, or the horse has really nice colors on it. So I'm going to bet the horse, and the horse wins. And all those numbers and all those statistics and the races they've run in mud or whether it's dry or whether it's turf, nothing.
Does not matter.
Nope.
Does not matter.
No.
How'd you get to that point right there? Did you see that pink?
So sweet.
Yeah, had that pink. It was raining. It was the only one I could see.
Caught my eye.
Literally, I would like to see the horse that I'm betting on, and then all of a sudden, here we are.
Right.
Triple crime. We did it.
Unreal.
Then they shoot the horse.
Whoa.
That's true.
Joe, that is the downfall of horse.
Yeah.
We've learned that this year. We don't like doing it, Joe. We got to cover sports every single day. We learned a lot about the horse racing community this year. A lot. I didn't know that.
Sadly.
Yeah. No.
Let's have a moment of silence for all those horses that have raced. Moment passed. Thank you, ponies.
Thank you, horses.
Thank you, ponies. Pac-Man has a question for you, Joe.
Joe, my question is, the NIL deals is really big right now, especially at Notre Dame. What do you think it would have been when your time? And also, what are your feels on the transport portal? Because we are looking up teams, and it's 100 different kids that's transporting to different schools every other week. Feel like how we looking at the schedule. Are you with the transport portal, or you're not with it?
Pac-Man, first of all, the NIL is it's seeping into high schools and it's ruining it. I mean, we don't have,
I didn't know that, Joe.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's in the high schools too, as well as the colleges.
It's been in basketball for a long time.
It's scary. I mean, the numbers are crazy for college guys. We don't have college football anymore. We have semi-professional football played by young people. That's basically what it's boiled down to. And we heard a couple of years ago, couple of coaches going at it where now you get to buy your team. That's in essence what they're doing right now. is colleges are buying. The wealthy are going to get more wealthy, and those that can't afford the players are going to be able to just provide education and a place to play some football. But when it comes to the competition, the other thing, Pac-Man, too, is how about the conferences? Yeah. What's a conference anymore? What a conference this year is not a conference next year. If you're part of a conference this year, you're probably not going to be part of it next year because somebody's going to offer you more money. I mean, it's crazy what's going on. The NILs, I think, I thought there was a better way to compensate the athlete, and instead of just giving them money and giving people a chance to be able to make it. I won't get into that. And as far as the portal goes, what the portal has basically done is basically said, hey, look, if the competition looks a little tough ahead of you, just go someplace else. I don't know how a college coach recruits anymore today, Pat.
Yeah.
Really, how do you recruit someone? You can't publish a depth chart. I've talked to coaches where they cannot put out a depth chart, all right, for their spring game because they're going to have people transfer out if they're not one or two.
Oh, I didn't even think about
that. Instead of competing instead of saying, okay, I've committed to this university, you know, the guy ahead of me is there and I'm going to compete. But now it's like, well, if you're really good, that means you probably have a minimum of 20 other schools that are interested in you. So now you have this elevated opinion of yourself. You get no basic fundamental understanding of the game you're playing because you think you have all the answers. And then you just go transfer someplace else. We see guys going from one to the other. Now, I will say this. I think they need to do something with the portal. I think they need to create some type of stability in college football so you can't just pick up and leave all the time. But yet, we at the University of Notre Dame have benefited from it because Sam Hartman transferred from Wake Forest to Notre Dame. Now, this is his 6th year.
He's 24.
I don't know what the quarterback's going to be next year. Of course, he received the extra year because of the pandemic year. So, and I think, like I say, I think we're going to surprise people going forward. We got some tough games. Got Clemson coming up, USC coming up, Ohio State. I'll be out there for the Ohio State game.
It's going to be big. Ohio State's looking at that one, right? That one's the one that can potentially knock Ohio State off the path there, waiting for the big one at the end with Michigan. I want to get back into what you were talking about there, though, with the transfer portal and, you know, not being able to release a depth chart. I thought about this with how open it was. There was over, 1,900 kids or something in the portal or something. There's only 130 teams. Like, I don't know where a lot of people are going to go. But if you start thinking about the ripple effects of that, like, let alone the money, if I was handed that type of money, I mean, I would have been a bag of shit. At that time, I would have not have been waking up at the time that those off-season workouts were at. I would not have been all in at those summer conditioning workouts. I would have been a bad person. Now, I'm not saying everybody's like me. I'm a, white trash kid. You hand $100,000 to me in Morgantown. I mean, I'm going to have.
Yeah, listen, you're running yourself. I don't buy it. You wouldn't have been a bad kid. You'd have gone. Maybe you'd gone in a different direction. Maybe you would have made some decisions that would have been not necessarily in your best interest. But you don't give yourself enough credit, Pat. To be honest with you. But,
well, I appreciate that.
Truthfully,
but let's get. Hold on, Joe. Hold on. Not even that part though. The transfer portal thing, like the lessons of like failing and like hard work and somebody telling you said these coaches can't even recruit, like hard coaching. I think a lot of coaches are scared to coach hard because they think that, this person's just going to get up and leave. So I think we're going to miss out on a lot of great football because I think there's going to be so many more players that are never going to reach their potential because the mental toughness that you need to be great at football is not something that most people are just born with. Like it has to come through situations and coaching. I think that, to extend upon your point, is going to be a big time ripple effect here over the next 10 years that I don't think was ever even considered, Joe. You know what I mean? And the NIL thing, you could definitely hit that as well. But that thing's a big deal, Joe. I think that's being undervalued through this entire thing of creating men. You know what I mean? Right. And women. And young women too. I mean, I don't even know their NIL deal. Look at Nebraska. Look at the 92,000 people that showed up for a Nebraska volleyball game. Awesome. It's great. So sweet. I think it's absolutely unbelievable and it's wonderful. Our women at Notre Dame, we've won more national championships of recent years than we have in any of our other sports. And our hockey is great. Our basketball is come on. Lacrosse. Our baseball has come on. Lacrosse has come on. Soccer.
obviously football. So, but I mean, what I watched this morning when I was watching Sports Center, I'm going, wow, that is so wonderful. And for the athlete to feel that way. And, the other thing too, Pat, that you're really referring to is the life lessons that you learn working hard for something are invaluable for you for the rest of your life.
Yes.
Because you're going to go to a job and somebody may be better than you there. And what are you going to do? Are you going to go someplace else and then someplace else and then someplace else and just become a nomad going from job to job, as opposed to fighting it out, learning, toughing it out? I think the most important asset any individual has that wants to be successful is mental toughness.
Hell yeah. Joe, I enjoyed this conversation immensely.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on, man. Genuinely.
Thanks for having me.
What do you do?
Thanks for having me.
You do some commander stuff, right? I was looking it up. I was trying to.
I do. Yeah, I did the preseason for a couple of years, and I haven't the last few years. Mostly I do a lot of motivational speaking. Have a chance to travel around the country and now every now and then around the world to be able to share some stories with people and share some experiences. I've been blessed to have some unbelievable people help me get where I am today, and I appreciate them every minute.
Oh, yeah. We're definitely going to try to book you.
Need it.
And the boys are going to need it about halfway through the season.
For sure.
We're going to be a little tired out here. We're going to need to come finish the year strong. I appreciate the hell out of you, Joe. Thank you for the golf tips. I will apply them when I finally get good at golf. Thank you for the life lessons today, and thank you for the time. We genuinely appreciate it.
Pat, great being with you. Thanks for having me. Take care.
Hey, Coach Lou Holtz is here as well. I think he wanted to tell you something about your birthday coming up.
Yeah, Coach, Joe, I'd just like to say happy birthday to you. I know that I'm sure we've crossed paths. I can't really remember right now. I know you never actually played for me. I can't remember if you played for Eric Parsons or if it was Dan Devine or if it was one of those other guys. I know it wasn't Newt Rockney. I know he was a little bit before your time. But, Joe, it was an honor, talking to you today. And I love that you go out there and you put out for the University of Notre Dame. I know how much you love the university, and I think you know how much I love the university as well. Go Irish, Joe.
And happy birthday.
Coach, thank you. That meant so much to me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I guess happy birthday as well. I should probably get that in there.
Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Theismann, thanks for coming. All right, let's get to a break.